The SEAL team squatted in the tight mountain valley. Enemy soldiers are coming closer from 3 directions. No way out. The radio made a loud, fuzzy noise. All the support positions were quiet. Then a loud gunshot came from the ridge they thought was empty. Rephrase. 1 enemy fell. Then 2 more, then 3 more. The enemy team ran in fear as accurate shots hit their targets. "There's someone up there." A SEAL quietly spoke in the middle of the noise. The commander kept his eyes on the scope and spoke very softly. "She is here." Lena Richtor was 30 years old and from Europe. She had dark brown hair tied back, a small build, and sharp eyes that didn't say much. She was sent to Outpost Arc 17, a cold, high-altitude place near the border, to help with technical investigations after some strange disappearances. To the Special Forces base there. Lena was just a helper for tech support. She wore special jackets, took notes in quiet places, and no one ever saw her use any weapons. The SEAL team called her Ghost Tech because she always showed up right when something went wrong, and then quietly disappeared again. One night, after the team came back from a mission that didn't go well, Lena quietly walked to the storage room for weapons. The guard on duty joked, "Don't take that M110. It's not meant for analysts." She smiled, walked by, and chose a different gun. No one knew. She had signed up for short-term approval for long-range support weapons. In the command room, she was told to help with making maps of the area and was not allowed to take part in any fighting. But to her, the map was really a picture of her memories. The beat was kind of odd. In the morning meetings, she sat in the back corner looking at patrol routes. While others just saw dots and lines, she understood the area like it was a living thing. During lunch breaks, she would go away for exactly 23 minutes to walk around, look at the wind, and see how far she could see, doing things that no instruction book would ever mention. At night, while others played cards or talked to their families on video calls, Lena would stand by the communication equipment, listening to static noise. Not for understanding, but for the quiet moments between sounds, the pitches that showed what the mountains kept secret. Sergeant Mills once asked why she never played poker in the evening. "I'm making a map," she said plainly. He thought she was talking about digital photography. She wanted to remember all the dark spots, all the angles, and all the places where someone might need help when the radio stopped working. The M210 in the armory has been marked as not dependable for weeks. They called it scope drift, how temperature affects things. Lena walked by it 14 times, and each time she saw something the weapon experts missed. The rifle wasn't the problem. It was the mounting system made for normal positions, not for very high or extreme angle shots. 3 days before the mission that would change everything, she secretly adjusted the scope herself, took into account the wind patterns at Ridge 13, and figured out how to aim for shots that shouldn't really be possible. When people ask Lena about her background, she says, "I do data analysis and technical support, but that's not the whole story. It's like saying, the ocean is wet, but not talking about how deep it is." The team began to notice little details. She would look at the weather reports and frown before storms that the weather satellites didn't see. She would suggest changes to the route that felt random, but they always avoided the places where patrols had disappeared. Her bag with tech gadgets was heavier than it should be for someone who just carries computers. Specialist Jackson joked, "Either Ghost Tech has amazing instincts, or she's been here before." He was more correct than he realized. On the morning of the important mission, Lena watched the SEAL team get ready, showing an unreadable expression. She had looked over their planned route 17 times and knew exactly where it would have problems, but she had clear permission to proceed. Just help out. Watch and tell what you see. As they left, Commander Sturford gave her the headset for talking. "Keep track of how they're doing and write down any changes." Lena nodded, put on the headset. and opened her laptop. On the screen there was a live map with 6 moving dots going into a canyon she knew as well as her own heartbeat. 3 years ago, she had climbed out of that same canyon by herself, holding on to secrets that would never be written down anywhere. I once talked to a sniper who said, "The best ones aren't in the records. They're at the edges of maps, always watching but never seen." Lena was just that kind of person. From the first time she saw that 3D terrain model, I knew she wasn't just looking at maps. She had been there before. The goal, a 6-person SEAL team, is entering Gree Canyon to find an enemy radio station. The plan looked easy, but when they got to the rocky gorge, they realized they had walked into a trap. Escape paths are blocked. The radio stopped working. Thick clouds made it impossible for aircraft to help. One SEAL asked, "Are there any high spots where we can see down here?" "The only one is Ridge 13, but it's been given up." Lena watched the situation at the command center using her map simulation. When she saw the trap getting smaller, she took off her headset and grabbed the M210 that was left on the shelf. The sniper rifle was left behind because it didn't shoot accurately at different distances. She didn't ask for permission or write a report. She just left the station and walked over the snowy ground. The distance to Ridge 13 was 2. After climbing 3 kilometers uphill, Lena moved like someone who had done this before. She didn't look at her map, didn't pause at the trail forks, and kept going despite the height. She kept her breathing steady, even though the air was thin and the slope was steep. She understood the mountain's behavior, how the wind changed every 40 minutes, and how the rocky slopes made warm air rise, which could affect the path of a bullet by 3 feet. How snow cover affected sound differently based on how deep it was and the temperature. 14 minutes after departing from the starting point. In the canyon below, the enemy was keeping the SEAL team trapped and safe behind weak protection. The sound of machine gun fire kept them low as groups from the sides moved into their final spots. Then a single shot comes from the empty hill above. The enemy machine gunner fell down right away. A clear picture of the head from 3.5 meters away, which shouldn't have been possible because of the wind and changes in height. The enemy became afraid. They expected to face problems on the ground, not shots from a spot their information said was hard to reach. 2nd dose, 3rd dose. Each shot is aimed carefully at important targets, not just random shooting. Carefully aimed shots that broke apart their teamwork. The SEAL team didn't know who was keeping watch. They only knew that someone appeared on the empty ridge and shot like a pro. Radar systems have confirmed the basic information. Shots fired from 3.5 meters, no ID check. An officer said quietly, "That shooting pattern is the same as the 3 shots fired at Bravo Line last year." But no one recalled who had shot that famous moment. The radio was buzzing with mixed-up talk. "Unknown shooter, please tell us where you are." No response from Ridge 13. The enemy group, now without their heavy weapons and leaders, started to run away in a confused manner. They were ready for a team of 6 special soldiers, not for someone who could shoot accurately from almost 2 miles away. Team leader Morrison took his radio. "Base, we need to quickly find out where the friendly snipers are. Someone just helped us with our mission." The command replied, "You are not allowed to have snipers in your area. There are no friendly snipers nearby. So who is shooting in the canyon? The whole situation has changed." What used to be a dangerous place turned into a successful rescue. The enemy radio station was empty because the opposing forces had run away. But the real mystery was on Hill 13. As the SEAL team secured the canyon and got ready to leave, they kept looking up at the ridge, hoping to see their protector. Nothing can be seen. No flash from a gun, and no motion. Morrison mentioned that it is high-quality hiding. Whoever that was really knows what they are doing. At 1:47 p.m., 3 exact shots changed a sure loss into a successful mission. The shots came from a place that military rules considered to be impossible to attack from. Too high, too far away, and too open to changing winds. But someone had been there. Someone who knew the area better than what the map showed. Someone who can figure out how bullets fall, drift with the wind, and move towards the target, just like a computer, but with the sharp instincts of a ghost. Lena came back to her post 18 minutes after she left. Her jacket was covered in dust. Her boots had marks from snow up in the mountains. Her laptop indicated that she had been keeping track of messages the whole time. When she was asked about strange radio signals, she answered. They were talking like usual, nothing unusual in what they said, but her eyes looked different now. Not the low-key life of a technical analyst, the clear realization of someone who has just remembered their true self. The M2010 was put back on its shelf, cleaned and stored the right way. The scope that used to be unreliable is now perfectly adjusted. The number of bullets was 3 less than what the records showed. Commander Sturford looked at the after-action reports 2 times and then put them away in a secure place. The successful mission will be recorded. The secret sniper help became one of those stories that quietly passed around among special operations groups. It's a story that makes people think there are guardian angels with guns. No one officially linked Lena's short time away to the difficult shots from Ridge 13. That evening, when the SEAL team got back to base, Morrison came over to her desk and softly said, "Thank you." Lena glanced away from her computer. "For what? You know what?" She went back to her keyboard. "I was checking messages, that's it. I was at Arca Base, the same spot where Lena had left for her climb. The wind there doesn't affect the aim at all, 7 degrees every second. No one goes up Ridge 13 at that time unless they've been in even colder places before." And Lena walked away without turning around. Type ridge shot if you think some ridges remain empty until history comes back. After the rescue, the SEAL team wanted to confirm who had helped them. The main command is quiet. A small team went up Ridge 13 and found some empty bullet shells, a lightweight windscreen, and 1 live bullet on a stone with the number 327 carved on it. That title was found in secret documents. 327 confirmed snipers, but we don't know who they are. Colonel Stranford called for Lena. She came in wearing different clothes, not her work uniform, but an old jacket covered in gunpowder dust. Storford asked, "How did you know that spot was reachable?" She answered, "Because I stayed under the Ridge 13 rocks that year when my team didn't come back." She was the only one left alive from Cerberus Echo, a group that went missing during the Northern Line mission in 2020. The story unfolded gradually, like pictures slowly appearing in a photo lab. Cerberus Echo was a special team that gathered information. There were 6 trained members who learned how to go deep into the mountains. Their mission is to set up lookout posts in dangerous areas to collect information about the enemy's supply, routes through the mountains. 3 weeks after starting, we stopped communicating. Satellite cameras did not see any activity at their assigned spots. The search and rescue teams found some left-behind equipment, but no people. After 60 days, Cerberus Echo was declared dead, and the bodies couldn't be found. The official report said, "The unit faced much stronger enemy forces, and there were no survivors." The reality was another story. The team had been let down by bad information. An area that should have been empty was filled with strong defenses. When they saw the trap, Cerberus Echo decided to fight instead of running away. This gave time for a rescue group passing through the valley below to get away from enemy fire. 5 team members died while defending in 3 different roles. Lena assigned the sniper unit 327 to a spot on Ridge 13. Their job was to keep watch and record the locations of the enemy. For 3 days, she kept an eye on her. Team members are leaving one by one. They couldn't get help, couldn't go back, and couldn't ask for support because their radios weren't working. Using them would give away where she was and put the civilian convoy in danger. On the 3rd day, the enemy discovered the convoy's new path. They were preparing cannons to kill 200 refugees when Lena spoke up. 3 shots, 3 accurate hits on forward observers. The artillery teams, now unable to see, couldn't aim at the convoy properly. The 3 shots, known as the famous 3-2-7 sequence, helped the convoy get away. But they also showed where Lena was. What happened next was a 6-day struggle to stay alive. Lena was all by herself on a mountain, being chased by a whole group of enemy soldiers. She used her understanding of the land, the weather, and how snipers work to survive while enemy soldiers looked for her in every cave, on every trail, and in every hiding place. She stayed safe by staying hidden, only moving when the weather helped cover her presence. She ate snow and emergency food, and slept in ways that would let her wake up ready to defend herself if someone found her. On the 6th day, rescue teams finally got to the area. They found her right where the best shooting spot on Ridge 13 would be. She was alive, awake, and still watching over the valley where her team had died. A medical check revealed that the person was very dehydrated, had frostbite on 3 fingers, and was experiencing mental stress from combat. But when asked about what happened, she did not want to talk about the details of her mission, did not want any mental health help, and did not want to be praised for what she did. Her official statement was, "I was there. I kept my place, that's it." The military gave out medals, higher ranks, and special jobs. She said no to everything. Instead, she asked to move to jobs in technical support, analysis, communications, logistics, or anything that would keep her from being in combat. For 3 years, Lena Richtor was invisible in the system. She is very good at her job, but prefers to stay out of sight. She is asking for remote work at places like Arca 17, where she can work quietly without being noticed. But some abilities never go away. The skill to understand land easily, to make tricky shots without thinking, and to move through dangerous areas quietly. The military psychologist wrote in her notes, "The person shows typical feelings of survivor guilt and has outstanding skills in their work. Suggests only office tasks. We don't know how effective it is in combat, but it's probably important." They were mistaken about how well they could fight. They were correct about everything else. The SEAL team found themselves stuck in the same canyon where Cabarrus Echo had died. When the radio messages stopped working in the same way, when the situation looked like the scary dreams she had for the past 3 years. Something stirred inside Lena. Not revenge, not anger, just something easy and stronger. She knew she would never have to see her teammates die when she could have saved them. The M210 she chose wasn't by chance. It was the same type she had used during Cabarrus Echo. The scope she had adjusted wasn't how things are usually done. It felt like something I had done before, but in another life. When she put that unused bullet on the stone that had the number 327 on it, it was more than just a signature. It was a promise to her friends who had died, to the SEAL team she had rescued, and to herself. In Colonel Stratford's office, Lena felt like the weight of 3 years of quiet was finally going away. She had tried for so long to hide that she almost forgot who she was before the mountain took everything away from her. The number 327, Stratford said, shows up in 17 different reports. Unlikely shots, good planning, no confirmed identity. Because I didn't ask for any records. But you were present. I was always there, looking and hoping that someone would need what I had to offer. The colonel looked at secret pictures, locations in the canyon, how things would move, weather reports from different missions, the Bravo line event, the Southridge rescue, and the Desert Rose convoy protection. Is that everyone? One student said, "I used to believe that shooting was all about winning, but she teaches us differently. Shooting is about sticking to your word." Lena changed from a ghost to a mentor slowly, like how the seasons change. She didn't tell anyone about her new job or give motivational talks. Instead, she started to share the information that helped her survive when she thought she might die. Her first class had 12 helpers from different special teams. They came expecting to learn advanced shooting skills, but left realizing that the most important skill was being patient. "Before you pick up a rifle," she said to them, "learn to breathe with the mountain. The weather changes every few minutes up here. Your heartbeat changes every few seconds. The rifle is simply the last part of a long talk you've been having with the surroundings for hours." Training sessions took place early in the morning when the weather was similar to what soldiers would experience in real battles. Students learned to read wind patterns by looking at how snow moves, how far things are by listening to sounds between mountains, and to predict weather changes by noticing changes in air pressure. Lena had a different way of teaching. She placed students at different spots around the base, gave them only binoculars, and asked them to explain what they saw and everything else they noticed with their senses. "What do you hear?" "Maybe some sounds from the motor pool equipment, ma'am." "What don't you hear?" Students would stop and look puzzled by the question. "The bird stopped singing 3 minutes ago. That means there is activity in Area 7. The noise from the equipment changes its tone. Someone is working on diesel engines, not generators. The wind is not constant. The wind is blowing strong every 40 seconds, which means a weather system is coming from the northwest." Each week, her students began to see their surroundings as a living system instead of just still objects. They found out that being a good sniper isn't just about hitting the target perfectly. It was about being fully aware. Advanced students went to Ridge 13, not to practice shooting, but to learn about positioning. How Lena picked that specific place out of so many options. How she figured out not only the distance and wind, but also the rising warm air, noise cover, and ways to get away. "Every spot has a story," she said, standing right where she had helped the SEAL team. "This position means I can see everything, grab anything, and become invisible. But it also means I'm dedicated. Once I take the shot from here, getting away is less important than completing the mission." The strongest lessons happened without using words. Students would come to training and see equipment set up in certain ways, with paths marked by small signs or situations that needed creative thinking to solve. One morning, they found targets set up in very hard-to-reach spots on the mountain. No shooting spot looked good. After studying for a long time, one student finally understood the lesson. Sometimes the best choice is not to try at all. "Ma'am, no angle is working." "Right. So, what's your answer?" Change the situation instead of making the shot. Now you are learning. Every week, Lena wrote a new message by hand and put it on the rock at Ridge 13 summit. Students were not allowed to take pictures of the messages. They had to go up to see them. Recent messages said, "Being patient is better than being scared. Being invisible is stronger than being unbeatable. The mountain remembers everything that has happened. Make sure it keeps a good memory of you." Climbing to Ridge 13 turned into an important journey for dedicated students. The tough climb and the difficult lessons from Lena made for a special training experience that you couldn't find in regular schools. Sure, please provide the text you want me to rewrite in simpler words. I would work hard to learn because I think some lessons need to be earned, not just handed to us. One morning, Lena was missing from the base. On her desk at M210, everything was clean and neatly arranged, with a small notebook that had one line written by hand. I don't leave marks, I leave ideas. Ridge 13 turned into a hidden place where top snipers from around the world came to train. Every year on the day of the SEAL team rescue, students quietly stand at the top for 1 minute, looking down into the canyon. A small figure shows up in every heart. It's quiet and humble, but it's always important. Her vanishing was just as puzzled as having her around. No new address, no last talk, no goodbye. The security video showed her leaving the base at 3:47 a.m. with a regular hiking bag. The tracking systems lost her signal right when the path to Ridge 13 started. Search teams found nothing. It was like the mountain had taken back something that belonged to it. The training program she set up kept going without stopping. Students continued to hike up Ridge 13, discovered handwritten notes, and learned about patience and how to see things differently. Now, messages showed up without any explanation. They were written in different handwriting, different languages, and from different viewpoints, but they all shared the same basic truths. Some thought Lena was still there, watching and teaching in a mysterious way. Some people believed that past students were keeping up her tradition. The story became more important than what really happened. The military papers showed that she was moved, waiting for classification. Her employee file had praise for her great work and help with technology. Even though there was no talk of fighting or special training programs, her story spread among special operations groups. New information came out during calm chats between veterans, how she showed up at surprising times and in unexpected places, how her teaching helped save lives in missions that will never be made public. The Ridge 13 training site drew in students from groups that weren't officially recognized for tasks that weren't mentioned in meetings. Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, Marine Scouts, snipers, and secret agents. They came looking for technical skills, but found something more meaningful. Real effectiveness means fully connecting with the surroundings, goals, and reasons for doing something. A memorial plaque was put up at the top. Nobody knew who put it there. The writing said, "She showed us that stories can be powerful without names. They just need the bravery to be there when it really counts. Winter storms and summer heat couldn't wash away the messages that kept showing up on Ridge 13. Students said they found new instructions carved into stone, written on strong materials that can resist bad weather, or burned into the metal of old tools. The messages always have helpful advice. How fast the wind blows in the morning can give you an idea of what the weather will be like in the afternoon. Count the beats of your heart between taking pictures, both yours and other people's. The best position is one that your enemy doesn't expect." It was still a mystery in military stories whether Lena kept teaching those lessons, or if her impact encouraged others to continue her teaching. But every sniper who practiced on Ridge 13 knew the bigger truth. Some teachers share knowledge that stays with us even after they're gone. Their true impact isn't about awards or fame. It's about the lives saved by the skills they shared with people who needed help the most. If you like touching stories like this, please leave a comment and remember to subscribe to Beyond Real Stories. We share stories that are important to remember. Real people sharing and telling stories, not made by machines.